Hello and welcome everyone. In this video we will see, has anyone ever said anything in their sleep that you weren't supposed to hear? This video is brought to you by Question Response, the channel where you will find the answer to everything. Thanks to Laurie Camp, Walt Nicholes, Stacy Jane and Rich Sadowski for sharing their answers with us. We'll start with Laurie Camp's first answer.
My husband often talks about work in his sleep. It usually stirs me and wakes me up. At first it would freak me out because I thought he was awake. When I realized he was talking in his sleep, I started finding it entertaining. One night he sat up and said, "Do you really think you should do it that way?" I was half asleep wondering if he was talking to the dogs or what. I sleepily responded, "Do what?" He shook his head and firmly replied to his dream employee, "Then you are a stupid little man." He laid back down and back to his work dream, obviously with a stupid little man.
The following answer is from Walt Nicholes.
According to my wife, I sometimes tell jokes in my sleep. And then I laugh hysterically. Thing is, the jokes include words that she recognizes but that don't make sense. If she laughs at the absurdity of it all, it wakes me up and I ask her what she is laughing about. She has tried to record me doing it, but it is usually over before she can get the recorder turned on. One of my choice ones was, up in the sky where the little birds fly, down in the nest where the little birds rest, with a wing on the left and a wing on the right, pull back on the stick and we're flying out of England. I was beside myself with laughter. Sometimes I use words that I would never use in church, but they are always funny to me.
What do you think? We will continue with Stacy Janeway's answer.
Yes, my ex-husband would actually have full conversations with me with no recollection. One night he was making all of these sexual sounds. Then he actually said, "I wanna take you over there and fuck you while my wife is not around." Naturally, I didn't expect that to come out of his mouth. I asked him to say my name, and he said the name of what I thought to be my closest friend. I didn't sleep all night. I wondered, had this already happened? How could it happen? When did it happen? Should I just wake him up and ask him? Should I ask her? How could he do that to me? How could she do that to me? The next morning when he woke up, we were both off of work. So I wondered if I should mention it to him, or to her, or should I assume he was just dreaming? Either way, I was hurting, so I went ahead and asked him. He looked shocked. He didn't deny it, he just said that he didn't say that. He never denied he had, in fact, had an affair with my so-called friend. So I told him that I would just ask her. This is when he went wild. It gave me the answer I was looking for. He always had talked in his sleep, but I never thought he would have an affair with my friend. So, needless to say, I lost a husband and a friend. Out of all the things that he could have said, that was definitely not meant for me to hear. Thanks for the question, SJ.
The following answer is from Rich Sadowski.
Okay, this is one of the most bizarre things that ever happened to me. I didn't hear it because I was the one who said it. And I wasn't exactly asleep, I was in a medically induced coma recovering from a serious illness that required minor lung surgery. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks, which was mind-boggling since it was my first time ever hospitalized since I was born 50 years prior. My birth was the only other time I was ever admitted to a hospital. I guess when I do something I do it big. There are a lot of details of this hospital stay that are too personal and related to medical stuff that I don't want to share. The important detail was seriously ill, potential to not survive, in a medically induced coma, for several weeks. They tell me I was on strong painkillers and IV antibiotic after the lung surgery. I had several dreams that I can remember in vivid detail during this time. My significant other was visiting me. The doctors had told my family that I might not make it. I can only begin to imagine how awful that was. Sue came to visit me and I had not spoken a word in a couple of weeks. I stirred into a semi-conscious state and had a conversation with her in Mandarin Chinese. I do not know Mandarin Chinese. This was before I had ever even visited China on business. I vividly recall being a Mandarin Chinese elderly woman in this dreamlike state. Sue actually recorded a video of a portion of this. I was talking in what sounded like credible Chinese as an old woman. I carried on a brief soliloquy and then fell back to sleep. She first told me about this after I was recovering from the surgery and a few days away from discharge, but still hospitalized. I immediately recognized the scene from a dream sequence I remembered. I remembered being that Chinese woman and speaking using her voice and native language. I really have absolutely no idea what event in my life caused me to take on this identity in the dream. It's been 5 years since that happened and nothing ever remotely similar has happened again. In those years in between I traveled several times to China north of Shenzhen in Dongguan. I still do not know much Chinese other than common greetings and am able to understand certain terms that are used a lot in conversation. I wasn't even sure I wanted to share this story since it is just so bizarre. I'm sure there's some deep meaning to what happened. How did I know who I was and how to speak in another language? How and why Cantonese? How did I know I was an old woman speaking in Cantonese? There were a few other vivid dreams, but they were in English and I was flying a small aircraft around the continental US. I am not a pilot. These seem to have occurred when I was at the most dangerous portion of my illness where the doctors were not sure if I would survive. I'm happy to report that I did survive, and within a few months my health was stable and I've been reasonably healthy without any recurrence of the condition that out me in the hospital in the first place. I've had health issues but nothing even remotely as serious. I really wish I had the video clip. I was shown it at one point and it was bizarre because I could remember it occurring in some recess of my mind but not really my fully waking mind. I am guessing this is probably the most bizarre story of talking while not conscious in any answer here. To this day I don't really know any old Cantonese woman that looks and talks like the one in my dream. I sense she is living in a region of China far from any place I've ever been.
The video is over. Thank you for staying until the end. If you found the answer you were looking for, please leave a like and subscribe, it would help us a lot. We are coming to the end of this video. Share your views on this question in the comments. See you next time.